recorded live from the lobby of the Line Hotel in Adams Morgan, Washington, D.C. Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agricultural space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting here on Full Service Radio. So this is a unique episode because, as you are aware, we have what many are calling a health pandemic, and that is COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus. So we are switching things up just a bit because our studio is closed. But the show does not stop, and we want to make sure that we are producing content that is of value during this crisis, but that will also sustain us, right? So I am so very pleased to welcome back Najee Ellerbe, certified juice therapist and founder of Everybody's Juice, which is a juice delivery service based here in Washington, D.C., that offers an array of cold, fresh-pressed juices to its customers and the community. Some of you all know Najee's story. He actually was, as I mentioned, he was on my show before, episode 56. Go check it out. Najee actually started his business when he battled the flu, right? And he actually used juicing to completely heal himself. So welcome back to the show, Najee. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So before we get into the crux of our conversations, how are you feeling, Najee? Because a lot is going on.
It's so much going on, right? This is really not anything new to me. I've had the flu before for like an entire month. So anything worse than the flu, I mean, anything that's not the flu, I think I can deal with. But it's like I feel good. My loved ones feel good. I've been stuck in the house pretty much all week because everything is just shut down here in DC. So I mean, this is giving me time to just decompress and just not worry about so much in a world where everybody's worrying about so much. I've had the opportunity to just really decompress and not, worry about too much and just be stress free for a couple of weeks. So I feel good. I can't complain anymore.
I love that. And I receive all of that. And I feel the same exact way. I'm in the same space as you, Najee. And again, let me be clear. I'm not discrediting what's happening out in the world. I'm certainly not doing that. But I think everything in perspective, right? And so there's so much good that can be pulled from this and so much good that is happening. But on the reverse side, there are so many communities who are affected by this, right? And so it's again, everything in perspective, but I feel great as well. And so, but we want our listeners to feel great. We want those in the community to feel great, our hospitality, workers, those in the industry. We want everybody to feel great, right? And here, as a business owner of Everybody's Juice, a lot that I've been thinking about lately is immunity over insanity, right? Building our immune system, alkalizing our body, which are terms that some people may or may not be familiar with, but the the body of your mission and of your business is health and wellness, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I was just gonna say we want to preach, always being aware of your surroundings, and with your surroundings, making sure that you're eating right, making sure that because people just think that your immune system is just what you eat, but it's like what you surround yourself with as well. So
yes,
stress is one of the number one causes of so many diseases, so many autoimmune diseases. and it's just like just being aware of your surroundings, what makes you sad, what makes you happy, what brings negative energy to you, how to avoid negative energy, all those things incorporate with, health and wellness, because it's not just the body, but it's like the mind and the soul and the body all combined together to create a powerful being.
I am so glad that you said that, Najee. I am so glad that you said that because I feel like fear will wipe us out before any virus will.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I remember having a conversation with a holistic doctor who was also on my show, Dr. Ruby. And, she said she also said it's more than just food. It's what are we feeding our mind, our body, and our soul. And if we are in environments or if we're harboring bitterness and anger and sadness, like that contributes to disease. And
Right.
so right now, like there's parts, and I can't say all of the world because I'm not everywhere, but there are many parts of the world right now where fear has just set in. Panic has set in. People are being stabbed over paper towels in the grocery store. People are afraid, and that is disease. That is
Right.
disease.
And
And
I blame a lot of that on the media, because the media, they're
for
in a
sure.
fascinating position where they can brainwash us to believe certain things, and unless you actually go and do the Googles yourself, or go and do the backstory and research, then you won't know. You'll just continue to live in fear and just hope and pray that things will get better. But it's like, if you understand exactly what's going on right now, then you wouldn't be living in such paranoia. But it's like the average American is not going to take time to go back and do research on the coronavirus, but just specifically on things that is taking place right now. If everybody knows, they know the coronavirus is nothing new. This disease has been here for close to 100 years, and it's more so a respiratory disease. It's not necessarily something that will just wipe you out automatically. It's not an autoimmune disease. It's similar to the flu in some aspects where it is a respiratory disease, but it's not anything that you can't overcome, that you can't beat. There's not a particular death sentence when you attract this thing. And I hear so many people saying that just wash your hands and wear a mask and you're good to go. But it's like, how can we get this thing? How can we be on offense? We don't always have to be on the defense of our health. And I think that's something that, as Americans and as society, period, we just have to be more cognizant of. It's just like, whenever we hear something or we feel something, we should be able to go to the doctor right then and there. But we wait so late, and things just continue to build up. And so many people have autoimmune diseases already, or already dealing with health ailments, but they don't know because they don't go to the doctor and get checked up. And those are things that can be you know fixed way before you even come into contact with something like the flu or the coronavirus that can do more harm to you. But I'll give you myself an example. And I didn't even know this, but I recently went to the doctor about a few weeks ago, and I got some blood work done, just a regular physical, regular lab
Mhm.
test, and I got my lab results back, and I was vitamin D deficiency, I was vitamin B12 deficiency, and these are things that I didn't think that I had anything wrong, because I'm a vegan, I eat plant based, so I'm just like, I feel like I'm getting all of my natural minerals and vitamins that I need on a daily basis. But it's just like, no, I'm not, and I'm glad that I did go to the doctor, because my doctor said that my levels were so low that she was actually scared that it could have been leukemia. And so,
Wow. Wow.
right. So that was something that I didn't even know, and I didn't feel like I didn't have fatigue. I wasn't experiencing any type of symptoms, but like I said, my vitamin B12 was deficient, and my vitamin D was deficient. And while I got those blood tests done, I also learned about what type my blood type as well. And so I think a lot of people need to understand their blood type so they can construct their diets based around their blood types. I don't think a lot of people. I ask a lot of my friends, like they don't even know like their blood types,
I
and I
don't know
think
my blood type. I need to. Thank you for putting me out there because I know I'm honest.
I
And
don't
I
mean.
think no, 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 no. I know, no, no. This is always homework for me. This is always homework for Melly Mel. And you know what? And I don't mean to cut your conversations. I'll definitely want to continue. And also, let me say this. Should have said this a long time ago, but we are not doctors for everyone who's listening.
No,
So if you
we're
do
not.
have an issue, go seek a medical professional. Okay. So
Yes.
these, Najee is sharing his personal experiences and how he's dealt with the flu and his most recent doctor's experience. So just know we are not experts. Like, do not defer to this episode as, we're
We're
not
not the
experts.
doctors. We're not.
But we do know our bodies though. How about that? But I do remember you on the last show, episode 56. You did, and we're gonna, talk more about like the juicing aspect and, keeping our building our immune system. But I'm glad that you said that because, some people also think that because you're vegan, like you're automatically healthy, or because, you incorporate this plant-based diet. Like it's like, okay, what type of vegan foods are you eating? But you never know. But you made it very clear in the last time you came to visit me, if something is wrong, like you do go to the doctor. You said we don't do enough of that,
I don't
and you're so right. You are so right.
because if you think about how many times the average person like has a physical throughout, like especially during these times, because like society keeps us so busy, where it's just like we're so preoccupied with other things that we don't even take time to prioritize our health. And so just asking people, it's asking my friends like, yo, like when's the last time you went and got a physical? And it's like they're going way back into like high school when it was mandatory. It's like,
Yeah.
dog, that can't be right. Like you have to continue to go to the doctor. At least if you don't do it twice a year, which is recommended, at least do it once a year, just so you can understand your body and know, what's going on. Your body talks to you in so many different ways, but if you're not understanding, what's going on, what are those pain points, what are those pressure points, then you can continue to go through life and not realize that you're developing something serious. Because I was just talking to my girlfriend, it was just like, yo, the things that our body goes through is ridiculous. It's just like our bodies go through so much, and it's just like sometimes we're not even aware of it.
Wow, ain't that something?
It's and I'm because I just from a female perspective, I was like females go through so much.
Yes, we do.
Women go through
Yes,
so
we do.
their bodies, and it's like, yo, like when does this stop? Like
It doesn't.
why does this happen? You know what I'm saying? But it's like there's no clear cut answer. It's just a part of life as we know it. So it's best to continue to go to the doctor and understand the nuances that our bodies go through, so we can be able to prepare ourselves for ailments or what may happen. Because the body is just something that's so complex, and so we need somebody else to that's more experienced than us to help us navigate this journey through life.
Okay, so Najee, check this out, right? So, I'm at Costco like a week or so ago. Like, I can't. I think this is maybe like right before, or maybe right after things just started to go downhill. Like when things just took an immediate turn with COVID-19, right? And
Mhm.
so I go to Costco once a month because I get my frozen fruit, my organic frozen fruit for my smoothies that I make every day, my coconut water, and I was grabbing some halos. I wasn't even in there for like essentials. My essentials are like stuff from my smoothie, okay? Because I gotta stay healthy, right?
Dig
And
it?
I'm just saying. And I just see the longest line for water and paper towels and tissues. And then I see the entire produce section just like to the top. And I'm like, what's happening? I'm at Mom's, right?
Mhm.
And of all places, love Mom's. I'm there every week. And produce section, I will say the ginger was snatched up because I was definitely, that's a staple for me. Ginger was snatched up. But and maybe this was a point where things were filled up, but still like there were shells of everything else missing, but like produce like still intact. People have been sharing photos of like produce section still intact,
Yeah.
water, paper towel, tissue gone. What what in the world?
I don't
So I get this I always say this is a non-judgmental show, right? And we're here to inform and teach and share stories, etc. um I, it's backwards in terms of what I'm seeing. But I don't know, like, that wiping like my behind, excuse whatever, however that sounds to folks, is going to keep me healthy. What I
Right.
do know what's going to keep me healthy are the smoothies that I'm making every morning with my lime, my frozen fruit, my sea moss, my ginger, every day, my hot teas, with my ginger. What I am very just interested in just how you are, what your outlook on everything is, with COVID-19, and as you being, being the owner of everybody's juice, where you're promoting health and wellness and promoting remedies for those who are sick. It just, to me, just sends even more of a bigger message that we have this backwards.
Listen, this is something that I get so frustrated about because, okay, so I
He did a deep sigh. Proceed. Proceed.
so listen, so me personally, I believe that, and I've always had this belief, but it was kind of heightened once I had the flu and once I got over the flu, is that food is medicine. Food is medicine, and I think that that's something that's still highly underrated. I think that so many, like most doctors, like they don't understand it because they never learned how to use food as a drug. And that's what functional medicine is. Like, if you think about it, food affects so many things, like nutrients in food. It affects everything from, like, our gut health, our immune system, um changes in our moods, like everything. Like, the and I what I can't understand is that people are going out here telling you to protect yourself from a respiratory disease, that you need to buy Lysol, buy chemicals, buy Lysol, buy
Mhm.
Lysol wipes, wipe things down, wear a mask, and you'll be fine. Instead of telling people how to strengthen their immune systems by, buying, stocking up on alkaline fruits and veggies, which is something I'm very, very big on. And if people don't know what alkaline mean, it's just that think about your pH level, and the pH level goes from 14 being the highest, means that your body has zero to little acid, and acid is which creates acid creates a lot of mucus and inflammation, which is the number one cause of a lot of diseases. And so think of 14 as being like the highest level of immunity versus, like, let's just say 5 or 4, which is like your body is like full of mucus, full of acid. You probably have a lot of diseases that you don't know about, or that you do know about. You're just not, taking, precautionary methods to, protect yourself and heal yourself. And so,
And
like,
mucus is a big thing. People don't understand mucus is like one of the main contributors to disease, you
yes,
know? So
that
while we are stocking up, I have friends sending me, especially up in New York, like shelves from the frozen food section are gone. It's like, wow, like we are stocking up on the wrong things.
the
We
wrong
just
things.
are.
But it could be as simple as this, right? It could be that, like potato chips and bread, like they have gluten in them. And, it could be as simple as that, you're eating a lot of bread and potato chips, which has a lot of gluten in it, and you can have gluten sensitivity. And gluten sensitivity can create an autoimmune disease. So that's when, if you do come across somebody that has like this coronavirus, and, your gluten sensitivity kicks into gear, and you in turn have, or create like an autoimmune disease within yourself, then yeah, you may be at risk. So it's just like it all goes back to understanding what you should and shouldn't be eating. And I think that doubles back into understanding your body, and going to the doctor, and knowing what you should be ingesting and what you shouldn't be ingesting. But I think in total, it's just like, yo, just eat fruits and vegetables. Like, I don't know why it's so hard. Like, I'll like just a small sample list, because I know some people are just not, they're not too in tune with so many fruits and vegetables. They only like the ones that are commercialized and things like that. So, fruits and vegetables that, are strong in alkalinity, such as like string beans, cabbage, kale, asparagus, bell pepper, celery. These are things that, you can eat raw, you can cook, you can juice these things. Fruits such as like apples, limes, lemons, oranges, bananas. Once again, all things that you can cook, eat raw, or you can make a juice, a fresh pressed juice in the comfort of your home. I don't, like
Oh,
I said,
sounds so delicious.
yeah, you gotta go back to the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like all these, like these nuances with Lysol wipes and toilet paper and all this other bullshit is just like that's not the baby, and it just gets frustrating because that's just what the news is constantly saying. So
It
it just
is, and there's so many levels to it. And also, let me backtrack. And when I was talking about like the frozen food section, and trust me, I understand when there's a pandemic and everybody's like, we may not get to the grocery store. Okay, I understand you want to buy food that will last you for quite hell. I buy frozen burritos. Okay, like I get it. And what I'm really referring to is the food that should never even be on the shelves. So let me just be very clear. Food that should
watch.
never be in the shelves because we have people still creating products with crap in them. And that's more so specifically what I'm referring to, especially giving times like this. So, but no, you're right. And it's just like, you're right. Wash your hands, buy Lysol, buy chemicals. Really?
Yeah, it's just
Really?
like, do we forget our diet? Like, is our diet just thrown out the window?
That's where some people are tossing it to.
And to piggyback
Sadly.
on your point where you said that just because if you think that you're a vegan that you're in tip top shape, that's not the case. I mean, luckily I didn't have any health ailments, but my white blood cells were extremely low, and so your white blood cells is a part of your immune system, which in return protects you from a lot of diseases and bacteria and viruses that we come across every day. And so if my white blood cells were to get so low where I don't have any type of protection, God knows what could have entered my body. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's
Wow. Yep.
cancer, type of virus, anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have that protection anymore. You know?
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so Najee, as a small business owner, a business owner, so you're in the entrepreneurial space, right? You're in food and hospitality in some respects, however you want to label that. What and hospitality, like I said before, hospitality is being hammered. Food businesses are being hammered, especially as regulations become more strict, shutting down, curbside delivery. You're fighting people through the grocery stores. There's a lot going on. What can we do? Like, so how are you feeling right now as a business owner? I'm definitely interested in hearing that, and also want to know how we can support you, because even though you are a juice delivery business, like that is your model, you also do have juices set up at a few other locations, which I'm
All
sure
right.
is being impacted. And so it's just a big domino effect. So from a business perspective, how are you feeling in the space right now? I know you're feeling great, personally and all around. And I love that energy, because I think, but not that I think, I know by the end of the day, there's just things that we cannot control outside of what we can do, and I feel like we can control our health to a certain degree, because it's in our hands. The answers are in our hands. Dr. Ruby definitely reinforced that. But as a business owner, I'm just really interested in your perspective, giving the climate right now, and especially in the food and beverage space.
It's been tough. It's been tough. All of the locations that we currently sell in for retail, they've shut down, and they don't know when they'll be opening back up. So that retail part is like a very, very large chunk of our income. So that's been a little tough, but I've managed to save some money over the course of my 10 months in business. So it's not like I'm completely just wiped out, but that has really affected us And it's just for the simple fact because it's just that no one knows anything, and
Say it again. Say it again, brother. No one knows.
no one knows anything, and it's just like this could affect us and be over by next Monday. They can say, okay, all is well. We go back to our normal business, or this could be affecting us into the summertime, and it's just like if that happens, I don't even want to speak that into existence, but it's just like we're just living in the unknown right now. And I've never thought getting into this business that I would come across an epidemic like this that would, just halt everything. Like who in the world could have thought that we're gonna be in the middle of a recession so early? Like they said it was coming, but I didn't think it was coming like this.
Not like this.
Not like this at all. I was expecting maybe, the next 3 to 4 years or so, maybe something like that. But it's like this is smack dab in the middle of everything. It's just like just about when things are getting ready to take off, it's just like we get planted right back on the runway. So we're just in the process of just like strategizing, trying to hit home on, our deliveries more, connecting more with like our local customer base and things like that. But it's hard because the social, what do they call it, social distancing
Yep.
played a part in that as well. So I mean, we usually like to do tastings and things like that, but it's like it's hard to do that because the places that we usually do have these tastings are shut down, and it's just like even the farmers markets are shut down. So it's just like we are really just stuck right now. It's like not too much that we can do at all. So we're kind of like in a wait and see position, but also kind of strategizing and saying like what can we do to kind of overcome this as well.
Well, let us know, in the meantime, how can we support you? There are a number, and I like what I'm seeing on some of what I'm seeing on social media, like how people are really fighting hard for hospitality and business owners, buy merch, buy gift cards, so please let us know and be as transparent as you want. Like, don't like no fluff, like let us know like how we can support, like when I hop off, like I want to support, because truth be told, I could use a flush anyway. Let's just be real, I needed this before Rona. That's what Black people calling it, Rona. That's what we named it, Rona. But like all seriousness though, like what can we do to support you? Because you said we don't know. Tomorrow it can be like, the sun comes out even more and we're trapping down the street, or we can
Right.
or martial law can take effect, as many people you think may happen, shut down for 30 days, some borders already shutting down. But how can we support you in the interim?
Right now we have a special going on for our 3-day juice cleanse. It's originally $99. We're taking $15 off, which will make it 84. If you go online and enter code EJUICE, you can get that $15 off. It's 15 juices in total, 5 per day. We also offer you a guide to walk you through like the cleansing process, so what to do before, during, and afterwards as well. Um, it's like a 7-page document that we put together because we found that a lot of people had questions about, should I eat this? Should I drink this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And so we just wanted to make it more easier for people who support us to, get the most out of a juice cleanse. And that can be found on www.everybodiesjuice.com.
Bet. I love it. Couple more questions for you before we wrap up. So again, I know we had talked about this when we were in studio, episode 56. Y'all check it out. Everybody's juice. We briefly touched on some of the remedies that you have listed on your page, right? And so what would you recommend as like the top 3 remedies? And I love how you have that laid out. Like it's very transparent. This is how you can make it. This is what you need. And you're very specific. 1 stalk, 2 stalk, half carrot, no games played.
To make it as easy as possible. We don't want anybody to get discouraged because I hear so many times that juicing is a lot, and we just want to make it as easy as possible. So I would personally recommend. You said top 3, right?
Top 3, whatever. It can be number 1. I don't. Yeah, top 3. That's fine.
Well, I would definitely go with our alkaline boost, and that's just because that's going to protect you from any diseases. It'll get your body to be as least acidic as possible, and this includes asparagus, watercress, grapefruit, beet, ginger root, and arugula as well. And these are all things that you can find in your local grocery stores that won't break the bank. And that's also something that I want to include in these home remedies as well, because the products that we use in our juice that we sell is totally different. The ingredients that we use, these are things that cost a little bit more, things that are a little hard to find. You won't find, milk thistle and, cordyceps mushroom and, reishi mushroom, things like that at your Giant or, at your mom's organic, things like that. So we want to put our home remedies in place. So these are things that you can go pick up from Giant, Safeway, and get your juicer and get the juicing away. So just to repeat that: the alkaline boost, which is 7 stalks of asparagus, a half bunch of watercress, a half grapefruit, a half beet, 1 bunch of arugula, and 1/3 of ginger root.
Yes, for the ginger.
Yeah,
Yes, for the
ginger is
ginger.
the root of life. My nana, God rest her soul, she used to always tell me to make sure you have some ginger and aloe vera plant in your house. The aloe vera plant will protect you from any type of cut, any type of bruise that you get. You just rub some aloe vera on it, and it'll go away. And then ginger will get rid of any type of, if you got a cold, you got a headache, anything like that, any stomach issues. You cut up slices of ginger and you eat that, or you can make some ginger tea, but just ginger and aloe vera. Always have those two in your house, and you can never fail.
That just got me to thinking, Najee. When I was growing up, I grew up very heavily diverse community, and I grew up in an apartment building. So every floor, you had every culture on every floor next door to you. I swear, every Black person had an aloe vera plant, and I ain't know why, and that's why.
It's
Somebody told them you better grow aloe vera, okay? You better have this plant.
the plant of life. My nana had it since I was 3 years old, since I can remember, and it's like whenever I used to get a cut, any type of bruise, even when in my younger days when I had acne, I would ask Nana, "Can I get like a stem of aloe vera?" She'd give it to me. I rub it on. The next morning I wake up, acne is gone. So ever since then, I've been a believer of having that in my house.
I love that. I love that. Okay, Najee, lastly, what are you listening to right now? What are you listening to or reading that is helping you also just remain sane?
Last time I said Nelly, and
You said
everybody.
Nelly. And we laughed forever. I'm telling y'all, when the show concluded, I was still laughing. But I'm gonna tell you, I was in college when that album came out. Loved it. It was the college anthem.
You never go wrong with Nelly, right?
No man.
But right now, I've been listening to that new J Electronica.
Oh yes, yes. I gotta get on that. I gotta get on that. That popped up on my
Yeah,
title as soon as it came out. Okay.
you gotta. He's talking that talk on there. I'm a huge J Elect fan, and I think Hove is the best rapper of all time. That's my guy. So, that's what I've been rocking to the past week and a half.
Cool, 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 cool. Najee, I really appreciate you talking with me. I know that it's serious times for folks, and just really trying to throw joy and light on as much as possible, so we can still talk about something serious and laugh at the same time. Because food is medicine, but so is laughter as well. So, everyone, be safe, stay safe. Alkaline your body. I hope I said that right. Probably did. I
You
know what
did.
I mean. Immunity over insanity, like real talk. Again, I'm not here to judge. We just want to inform. I'm not perfect in every aspect of my life, but I would tell you that for the most part, every morning I start with a smoothie, but even more so now, like it's like sea moss smoothies. How can I keep my body alkaline? This is really important, especially during times like this. But we just want everyone to stay safe and stay informed, and also visit everybodysjuice.com. I would put this up on my Instagram page, and let's support this brother. We have to support our hospitality industry. Pardon me, that was not Rona, FYI. And especially our Black businesses, because it's always a challenge. It has already been a challenge for us. And this is just a even bigger kicker. So let's all do our part. Thank you again. Peace.
Thank you, Melissa. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m., where you can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow me at Food Talks in Color on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on the gram. Peace and blessings all. And remember, there is no culture without agriculture.